This is a very good turnaround again for the Nifty Metal Index. We were discussing this point earlier that there are the only two sectors which have been very strong since the last few weeks has been the metals and the PSU banks. Now metals, of course, the leadership has been changing. Earlier it was Tata Steel, then there was a phase where JSW Steel managed to be one of the stronger price performer. And then I think recently it was Nalco, the stock given a breakout above its multi-month swing highs. So I think the leadership is changing within the metal pack, but then the sector still remains vibrant. We're still seeing the Nifty Metal Index showing signs of a good recovery. In fact, today on the candlestick front, assuming if we close at current levels for the Nifty Metal Index, we could be forming a bullish hammer kind of a candlestick pattern for the index. So that should be another positive for the index within near term.
What are your top picks within metals, Kunal?
So yeah, I think Nalco is one of the stocks which I was actually highlighting
Yes.
at current levels. Looks very attractive, and especially with the kind of breakout, the kind of move which we're seeing on the swing charts for the stock, trading about 220 plus levels. Would look out for 236 as a target for Nalco, and stop loss could be kept at 220. And the second would be a buy on SBI card, something which I flagged off a couple of days back when the stock was heading towards a breakout of 900 levels. Today, it's done reasonably well. The first targets which I had assigned was close to 925. Those levels have been crossed, but I think at current levels, I would look out for a further higher target of 945 at least for SBI card. So traders could look at a fresh buy, keep a trailing stop loss of 912 on this trade now.
Okay, so Nalco, SBI cards looking good to Kunal right now. Kunal, one sector under immense pressure today, other than real estate, is the entire auto space. Surprising to see such a move like this, given the kind of moves we had seen on auto, consecutive back-to-back gaining days after the GST announcement that had come. Do you believe that was the trigger that worked for auto back then, and it's time for autos to once again become subdued, or this is just a one-off?
So it will remain subdued for some more time till the time other sectors try and pick up pace. But then, staying after such a kind of a strong multi-week up move, there's bound to be a point where the sector remains to be one of the limelight sectors for weeks and months to come by. I see it as a very strong indicator because you've seen a complete change of leaders in this pack or in this move for the auto pack. You've seen Eicher Motors, which has been an underperformer in 2022-23, I think good part of 2024. That stock has made a dramatic comeback. Maruti has made a very strong comeback. And the erstwhile leaders as such, M&M, Tata Motors of the previous rally, these stocks have underperformed in this leg. So which means that we are looking at a potential churn within the auto pack, and I think that should be favorable for the auto sector. But you have to look at new leaders emerging. So if you're looking at the older picks or the older ones like M&M and Tata Motors, and assuming that these stocks would continue to move up higher, I think you could be in for some bit of a negative surprise, because my sense is that this change in leadership should have an effect on the auto sector over the next 3 to 6 months. And I think any dips in that sense for the auto pack, and especially for these few odd names which have been fresh leaders, should be taken as a good buying opportunity.
What about the India VIX, Kunal? On a day like this, where we've had a flat market, we had VIX, closing on nearly 10 yesterday. We were speaking about that trend. And this kind of a market not helping the VIX at all. The kind of flatline we've seen today versus yesterday, of course, through the day we've made a bit of a wave, but how should one read into the VIX, and what's the impact of that?
It was up 4% in a trade today, around that midday mark, and it's simmered down slightly. So, like Harsh was saying, how do you read this?
So VIX is basically a gauge of market sentiment.
Correct.
It's the indication of fear in the market, or what kind of level in terms of highest sentiment or the extreme sentiments on the markets. Now, a rising VIX is of course a pain point for the markets, because it tells you that the markets are in a zone of panic. But a falling VIX is actually a positive sign.
Correct.
The bigger concern, Harsh, and the data at least shows that over the last 12 months or 24 months, the markets have made a top when the VIX has fallen below 10. So that's the bigger concern for the markets. Like in September 2024, mid of September 2024, the VIX had fallen to 9.9.
Okay.
And we know all what happened from September 2024.
Oh, yes.
Same was the case, I think, in March or April 2024. There was a point where the Nifty corrected some 1,000 points after the VIX falling below the 10 levels. So it could act as a sign of maybe complacency in the markets if the VIX falls below 10.
Okay, so, well, you want to keep your eye out on the VIX as well. And of course, we also will. And we'll flag it off to you as it falls below 10 if it were to. What we'll do is we'll slip into a very short break. On the other side, we'll take fundamental views as well. We'll be joined by Dharmesh Kant, Head of Research at Chola Securities. Stay with us.